But yeah, like we're divided ourselves into these stupid parties that like I don't understand why we're divided into. And we're going to go over some of these, like libertarianism, political philanthropy that takes individual liberty. Philanthropy, political philosophy that takes individual liberty to be the primary political value. It may be understood as a form of liberalism. The political philosophy associated with the English philosopher John Locke and John Stuart Mill, the Scottish economist Adam Smith, and the American statesman Thomas Jefferson. Liberalism seeks to define and justify the legitimate powers of the government in terms of certain natural or God-given individual rights. These rights include the rights of life, liberty, private property, freedom of speech and association, freedom of worship, government by consent, equality under the law, and moral autonomy, the ability to pursue one's own conception of happiness or the good life. The purpose of government, according to the liberals, is to protect these and other individual rights. And in general, liberals have contended that government power should be limited. I don't know why it switched to liberals when, I mean, I guess they're the classic liberals. The the extended government power should be limited to which is necessary to accomplish this task. Libertarians are classical liberals who strongly emphasize the individual right to liberty. They contend that the scope of power of the government should be constrained so that to allow the individual as much freedom of action as is consistent with like freedom of everyone else. Thus, they believe the individuals should be free to behave and dispose of their property as they see fit, provided their actions do not infringe upon others. And this right here, I'm a libertarian, and this is what we're supposed to believe in. But libertarians are the most toxic party. Like that, like they're worse than the violent left and the way religious right or whatever like part of the right you don't like it. Because like they're supposed to believe in this like you do you, I do me, you do me, you do you. But if you ever go into a libertarian forum and like how very not libertarian of you libertarians. Like, how dare you not believe in my idea of libertarianism instead of like when it's supposed to be like you do you, you do me. Right? It's the most unproductive part of the whole thing. But individual liberty is important. If we could get rid of the parties and we could be Americans, they can voice their part of the individual, and we can take some things, facets from them, and they individually, because that's the only way they'll get get the support of the people, and you can mold something together instead of being so toxic to each other. So like, it's I don't understand how libertarians can argue like that. Like it's even I've found my way thinking like, how do you like not believe in all freedom? You're like, I believe in all kinds of freedom, but this, then you're not a libertarian. I believe in all kinds of freedom, but this, but then you're not a libertarian. You're free to believe what you want, but how are you going to get mad at me or mad at somebody else because they have a different kind of view? Like I don't understand our party at all. I don't understand our group. Like I'm probably leaving the party after this last election because it was a disgrace. It was an utter disgrace. It started looking like the other two stupid parties that we're about to get into, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. The same garbage. Even like Joe Jorgensen and some of the people like debating, they would talk about the other people. Like, stop using that political. That's not what we're here for. We want to hear what you're going to do with the country. And then you got the next political party, and these these people are really insane. We got the liberals political doctrine that takes protecting and enhancing the freedom of the individual to be the central problem of politics. Liberals typically believe the government is necessary to protect individuals from being harmed by others, but they also recognize the government itself can be opposed to the threat of liberty as a revolution American. So now it's like they're trying to say that it's the same thing, right? But if you notice, like, believe the government is like they want government authority. Like, how can you think you're protecting the freedom of the individual when you keep giving the government more and more and more power? Like the far left is burning shit down, demanding the government take more money from people to provide more services and control more aspects of reality. When the government just keeps things up, everything the government touches goes to disaster. There's places in the world controlled by this type of government that are like their roads have been shitty for 30 years despite all the money coming in to fix the roads, but it's a vicious cycle that keeps going on and on and on. But like, you're not against the machine for the individual. You are part of the damn machine oppressing the individual. You're part of the issue. You know, like, rules for thee but not for me, and it gotta end. Like, you're committing acts of terrorism. There is a time and place for violence, but it's not beating up old people in the street because they don't listen to you. It's not macing little children because they don't believe the same thing as you. It's not throwing bombs into people's houses because they don't believe the same thing as you. Like, that's like, you don't start with those terrorist actions. The far left Antifa got the you guys are terrorists. Those guys are terrorists, and it got to end. This whole concept, it got to end. If it doesn't end, like, it's gonna we're gonna attack each other, and enemies can come in, and we're gonna fall. We're gonna end up slaves to these big ass corporations because they're shutting all our businesses down with this great reset. And what do we got? We got nothing. We got dirt poor bread lines like Venezuela. Printing all this money, our economy's gonna crash, and it's bad. It's bad. Rats in New York City are trying to attack pigeons, squirrels, because they're no longer getting fed by humans, or attacking humans for food because they're starving. And it's only a matter of time before humans reach that level, and it's too late. I don't know if we can go here. And now we're going to get into the conservatives. We can't leave anyone out. Political doctrine that emphasizes the values of traditional and institutional practices. Conservatism is a preference of the historical inherited rather than the abstract and ideal. The preference has traditionally rested on the organic conception of society, that is, on the belief that society is not merely a loose collection of individuals, but a living organism comprising close connections to independent members. Conservatives thus favor institutions and practices that have evolved gradually and are manifestations of continuity and stability. Government's responsibility is to be the servant, not the master of the existing ways of life. In Politicians must therefore resist the temptation to transform society and politics. This obsession of government activism distinguishes conservatism not only from radical forms of political thought, but also from the liberalism, which is the modernized anti-traditional movement dedicated to correcting the evils and abuses resulting from the misuse of social and political power. See, like, now this is really like targeted. Like, even our institutions is starting to take sides in all this stupid ass mess. And now there are times when it's willing to be conserved, and there's times when you should concede. And conservatives tend to not even see those things. Like, if you don't want abortions in your community, but they're allowing abortions in California, and you live in Massachusetts, that's not your concern. And just like the left liberals shouldn't do the like abortion across the communities are allowed to do the things that they want to do. That's like, you want to conserve the traditional values of this country, but that's part of the traditional values of this damn country. Uh, and then you get people preaching their religion, and not, I don't care if you pray, or you believe in God, or you like say Jesus loves everyone, or you like anything like that. But when you like get up on a soapbox and you're like, you're going to hell, blah 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 blah, you don't believe the same thing as me, you're not, we're not, and we try to stop you from doing that. We're not violating your freedom of religion. You're violating our freedom of religion by pushing your beliefs on you. But now if you come up and said, God, I keep dropping things because I just get into it and I go. But if you come up to me and you're like, Jesus loves everybody and you should have the work, I'm like, I can just be like, yeah, no, my gods do love me, and I should probably go do it. And we can have a conversation without violating each other's rights. This is how the world works in conjunction with each other. Um, why hate we'll go to like the KKK and the really far right Nazi type people. Why do you hate people that are different than you? We're all people. There have been great things from every aspect of every type of society on earth that we can adopt together. We're human. America's supposed to be that melting pot. Conservatives don't even stand up for your beliefs anymore either. They're the most spineless party in the entire political spectrum. That you gotta stop being your party and be the American party and start listening to the other sides and come up with a compromise that everybody agrees with, or we're gonna be fighting. Like, we're not Americans. America was built on that great compromise, with the understanding by our father and forefathers that time was going to come again for us to need to make another compromise, and the time has come again for us to make another compromise. But none of us want to talk about doing that compromise. It's really it's really sad to me, and it's causing a real bad problem in the world where people, if we don't stop it soon, it's going to get bad.